Hello, and welcome back to our Advanced Squad Leader tutorial series. In this video, we are going back to the South Pacific and the Japanese. In our first volume about the Japanese, we talked about how their morale is affected with striping, etc. For a review of those topics, please go check out our Imperial Japanese Army in ASL Volume 1. In this volume, we are going to deal with one of the most unique tools in the Imperial Japanese Army player's toolbox, the Tank Hunter Hero, and by proxy his cousin, the DC Hero. These weapons can be devastating if used appropriately. In this video, we are just going to cover how the heroes are created and how to move and attack with them. Like in the rest of our videos, the tactics you use are up to you. There are several criteria that the Japanese multi-man counter has to meet to create a Tank Hunter Hero. First, the Tank Hunter Hero can be created from any Japanese multi-man counter that has line of sight to an enemy ASV and that is both in good order and not marked by any fire, pin, or temporary immobilized counters. Second, the year the scenario is taking place determines how many Tank Hunter Heroes the IJA player can create. Prior to 1943, the Japanese player is limited to 10% of his multi-man counters rounded up. So, up to 10 squads yields 1 Tank Hunter Hero, 11 to 20 squads 2, etc. Against the Russians, this number increases to 20%. In 1943 scenarios, the Japanese player is limited to 20%. 1944, 33%, and 1945, 50%. All fractions are rounded up. Third, there are two modifiers for Tank Hunter Hero creation. +1 DRM if a half squad is attempting to create one, and +2 DRM if it's a conscript trying. These modifiers are cumulative. Fourth, there are only certain times during the game turn when the Imperial Japanese player can attempt to create a Tank Hunter Hero. During the Japanese player's half of the turn, he can be created during the movement phase and during the advance phase. During the Allied player's turn, he can be created during the close combat reaction fire, as the opposing player moves, and as a defender in close combat versus an AFV. To create the Tank Hunter Hero, the final modified die roll must be a 3 or less. So, if a non-conscript half squad is trying to create the hero, you would add +1 to the roll. If a conscript squad is trying to create the hero, you would add +2 to the roll. If a conscript half squad is trying to create the hero, you would add +3 to the die roll. Like always, let's go through the counter of the Tank Hunter Hero like we do our other counters. You will see 3 numbers on the counter. The 9 is his morale. If he's part of a bonsai charge, his morale does not go up by 1 like the rest of the Japanese do. His morale of 9 takes that into account. He has no range, and the 1 is his nominal value in close combat against infantry. It's Japanese movement phase, and there is an American M4 3 hexes away from the Japanese squads. The 447 would need a 3 or less on one die. The 237 would need a 2 or less. If we had a 336, it would need a 1 or less. And the 126 cannot create one. The 447 creates the hero, who now goes on his bonsai charge to attack the tank. We see the MF, the movement factors he is spending while he charges. All the first fire principles would apply as he attacks the tank. We have a defensive fire principles video to show all the attacks he would be subject to, but for now, let's assume the Americans are having a bad day, and he makes it to the tank unharmed. According to our close combat tables, the Tank Hunter Hero has a close combat value of 5. He will immobilize the tank on a 5 and destroy it on a 4 or less. But before he makes an attack, he can roll for an anti-tank magnetic mine. He has it on a die roll of 3 or less. The only modifier to this roll is a +1 if the scenario is taking place pre-1944. In addition, there is no downside for him making this roll because a 6 does not pin him. If he gets the anti-tank magnetic mine, he receives a -3 dice roll modifier to his attack roll, so the tank would be immobilized on an 8 and destroyed on a 7 or less. If the Japanese player wanted to, he could wait till the close combat phase to attack the tank, and he would automatically attack first. Now let's say the Japanese unit had moved before coming into view of the American tank. If the unit was moving normally, for every MF it expended prior to creating the Tank Hunter Hero, the Tank Hunter Hero would lose 2 MF. If the creating unit was involved in a bonsai charge, then it would have only been penalized 1 MF for every MF the unit had spent. So if our 447 had moved into the house for 2 MF, using regular movement, then the Tank Hunter Hero would only have 4 MF left to attack the tank. He could still get there in this case. If the tank was 2 hexes back, he would wind up short. The second time a Tank Hunter Hero can be created during the Japanese player turn is during the advance phase. In order to do this, the vehicle must start in line of sight and adjacent to the squad attempting to create the Tank Hunter hero. With this example, Tank 1 is in line of sight, while Tank 2 is not. So Tank 2 cannot be attacked by a Tank Hunter hero. After advancing into the hex, you would follow the same procedure with the Tank Hunter hero we did during the movement phase. There are 2 times during the allied player turn when the Tank Hunter hero can be created. The first can occur during the enemy movement phase as part of close combat reaction fire / street fighting, and the other can occur when the Japanese multi-man counter is already involved in close combat with the vehicle. In this example, the American tank has gone into bypass next to the 447 squad. The squad would have to pass its patsy, and then it could create the Tank Hunter hero on a 3 or less. If it does, then the hero attacks immediately, with or without the help of the squad. Close combat value is a 5, -1 dice roll modifier for street fighting, and +2 dice roll modifier for being in motion, for a total DRM of +1. The Tank Hunter hero then rolls for an anti-tank magnetic mine. If he gets it, there is an additional -3 dice roll modifier to the roll, so the tank will be immobilized on a 7 and destroyed on a 6 or less. Finally, let's say that a tank was in bypass and not in motion in the hex where the previous Japanese attacks did not succeed. Now the 447 is a defender and rolls for a Tank Hunter hero. Vehicle close combat versus infantry is sequential, with the infantry only side going first. If the Tank Hunter hero is created, he would roll for an anti-tank magnetic mine and attack, with the result being immobilized on a 6 and destroyed on a 5 without the mine, and immobilized on a 9 and destroyed with an 8 or less with the mine. If you really want to get a feel for the Japanese and ASL in the Pacific Theater of Operations, Blood and Jungle by Bounding Fire Productions is an absolute must-have. It comes with an instructional guide that is fantastic. It goes through all the special rules for the Japanese and unique terrain of the South Pacific. 4 counter sheets with unique weapons and vehicles needed to play the 47 included scenarios. Go to our website, www.theadvancedsquadleaderexperience.com, for a full review of this great and essential product. However you get it, it is an essential ASL product, and when you get done, you will feel as comfortable in the South Pacific as you do now in the streets of Stalingrad. Well, this concludes our Volume 2 of the Imperial Japanese Army and Advanced Squad Leader. Stay tuned to our video for our first J&D Buyers Club raffle. All the members have received their numbers, and best of luck. Here we are for the J&D Hobbies giveaway. Get ready for the roll. Your numbers were received by email. And best of luck to everybody. The number is 4. Thank you and take care.